everyone. Welcome to another episode of Holistic Health Habits Nutrition Experts Speak. I'm your host, Surani Fernando, and I'm excited to welcome today's guest, Yug Varma, founder and CTO of Phyla. Phyla is a company pioneering the use of microbiome research and bacteriophage technology to create holistic, long-term solutions for acne and other chronic diseases. Yug is a trained microbiologist and synthetic biologist with a background in organic chemistry, and his expertise in microbiome health is reshaping approaches to holistic health, nutrition, and skincare. Thanks for joining the podcast, Yug.
Hey, Surani, nice to see you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Let's start us off with just, more about yourself. Can you tell us a bit about your background? You've got a pretty impressive academic background. Tell us a bit about that, your education, and what really led you here to be the founder of Phyla.
Yeah, so my background is I'm a scientist. I originally grew up in India, came to the US for my PhD, which was at Johns Hopkins, and then after that I did a postdoc at UCSF. And after spending over a decade in academia, I decided to start this company for a bunch of reasons. The first was I was following this really powerful technology called bacteriophage technology, or phage technology for short. That's the technology that our company uses. And to date, I've been following it around for about 18, 19 years. So it's been a while. I'm really passionate about this technology. I think it's really powerful. And when used to solve the right problem, it can have a huge impact. And I think we've proven that out. So one of my first impulses was to kind of work with this technology and use it to solve a really big problem. The second was, as I was sort of casting around for a good sort of problem to solve with this technology, I kind of stumbled across acne as kind of a market, as a disease indication. Now, acne obviously is a huge problem worldwide. It affects more than 85% of us at some point in our life, which means it's almost a nearly universal experience, right? Um, it's the products that we use for acne are pretty much harsh across the board and come with a lot of side effects that no one really wants. But the problem really is that we haven't innovated in acne for decades. So it's been more than 40 years since the most powerful drug for acne, Accutane, came out. There's been almost nothing since then. And the result is that I felt people were so underserved in this indication, this condition that is the number one skin condition that people are suffering from, and clearly it hasn't been solved, right? We haven't found the ideal solution for it. And reflecting on the body of sort of microbiome research, epidemiological research that has been done on acne, it pointed very clearly to what an ideal solution could be. And what we realized was, with phage technology, we could build this ideal solution. And the question was, A, can you prove out the science? And B, can you make a product that, when you put out there, people will want to buy, people will love, and hopefully it'll make them think, oh, wow, this is a powerful solution for acne. I wonder if they can do this maybe for eczema, for psoriasis. And then we go out and build that next product. So that's how it started, and it's going pretty well.
Okay. And, obviously, you mentioned there's a lot of products out there, Accutane, what was what about that is, harsh and not as effective, and where you saw the gap to do something different, especially with the microbiome research that you have?
Yeah, I mean, sort of going back to what really causes acne. Acne, obviously, we know, is a multifactorial disease. It's complicated. It's affected by diet and stress and genetics and hormones. But one of the main drivers of acne is the overgrowth of one bacteria on our skin, which is C. acnes. And this is reflected, as you were asking about, in the kinds of products we use to treat acne. So whether you look at benzoyl peroxide or antibiotics or retinoids, they all have an antibacterial effect, right? They kill bacteria. So they're trying to kill this one bad bacteria. But what we've realized, especially with microbiome research, is there's not just one bacteria on our skin. There's a whole
Hmm.
garden. There's a huge amount of diversity. There's a complex, community that lives on our skin, and it doesn't just live there, for no reason. It lives there and it protects our skin in a very, very important way, in the sense that without it, we would really be defenseless against a number of microbial kind of attacks and colonization on our skin.
Yeah.
So recognizing the importance of this really complex community, and then knowing that when you use antibiotics every day, or benzoyl peroxide every day, or Accutane every day for months and months, what you're doing is you're kind of indiscriminately killing both the good and the bad bacteria. You're
Hmm.
thinning out this protective layer to the point where it can't support itself, it cannot protect you. And so no wonder that acne relapses are one of the most common experiences that people with acne suffer from, which is something works, all of these products work, but after a while, because they've depleted your microbiome, they cause your skin to relapse and have acne over and over again. And that's one of the most frustrating experiences, because you spend all this time, this money, this emotional kind of energy into finding something that works, you think it's going well, but then you're back to square one. And that's the one thing we want to prevent people from going through.
Okay. So then how does and we can talk about one particular product. I know that you have a few products that you've innovated. How does your innovation behind the products work differently to address that?
Yeah. So our technology is phage technology. And with our technology, what we can do is we can kill one bacteria that's causing the disease without hurting any of the other bacteria in your microbiome. Now we know with acne, the bad bacteria is C. acnes, and so we have a phage that's kind of tuned to finding, killing, and reducing the overgrowth of C. acnes on your skin.
Right.
And we know that it doesn't, we've shown very elegantly that this does not hit any other bacteria on your skin. Any of the good bacteria are completely unaffected. They keep growing. And in fact, what you're doing is, because you're killing this C. acnes, which is, by the way, the number one bacteria by numbers on your
Mhm.
skin, you're you're making a lot more space for the other bacteria. So not only are we seeing people's acne go away and their C. acnes counts reduced to a healthy level, but we're also seeing an incredible explosion of microbiome diversity. We're seeing a bloom in the good bacteria that support your skin health, and the hope is, with constant use of the product, you're balancing your microbiome, you're keeping it in balance, and you're getting that microbiome diversity up so that you're building a more resilient community that can stand up for itself, right? And prevent on its own future outbreaks of acne by reducing the overgrowth of C. acnes. And so that's
Okay.
really the big difference.
Yeah. And we're talking about skincare here, and the microbiome connected with the skin. But often when we talk about microbiome, we think about the gut and we think about gut bacteria. Can you maybe explain the connection there with the microbiome on the skin that's perhaps also informed by what we're eating? I think it's like the gut skin axis. Like, do you want to sort of break that down a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think of the microbiome as this rainforest, right? It's an invisible rainforest that's in our skin. There's one in the gut, there's one in our mouth, there's one on our skin. Most surfaces have a microbiome. Now, this rainforest is invisible because it's trees, essentially, are bacteria, viruses, and fungi, microbes that live together, work together, and form this community. And it's largely protective in the sense that if we have a missing or a non-functioning microbiome, or one that's out of balance, we see profound health implications. And this works for whether you have an imbalance in your gut microbiome, or an imbalance on your skin, or an imbalance in your mouth, right? Now the gut obviously has been much more studied. It is something that intuitively most of your listeners would understand and be aware of, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, we know that it's healthy to have high fiber foods, because the fiber that we don't digest goes into our gut and nourishes our gut microbiome. We
Hmm.
know that fermented foods are really important because it introduces beneficial probiotics, and eating that regularly is what really sort of promotes gut health for the long term. And we've known for a long time that there is a gut-skin axis. Well, not a long time, but for a long time in microbiome research, that there
Yeah.
is a gut-skin microbiome axis. For one, because the gut and the skin are two of the highest kind of boundaries of immune surveillance in our body. And what that means is that the immune system sends a bunch of its cells right up against the layer of our gut and the layer of our skin, and a lot of these cells are kind of putting an ear up against the wall and listening in, right? And they're constantly monitoring the composition, the population in our gut microbiome, in our skin microbiome, and kind of sipping a little bit and saying, oh, what's up, what's out there? Is it in balance? Is that fine? Or do I need to send in inflammation? And really, a
Right.
lot of the dysbiotic diseases of both the gut and the skin are inflammation, diseases of inflammation, right? So you think of IBD, IBS, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis in the gut,
Yeah.
acne, eczema, psoriasis in the skin. Um, for acne particularly, there hasn't been a huge sort of, we don't have any evidence that there's a big gut skin connection. But for
Hmm.
example, diet, let's take diet, right? Obviously, for some people, not all who suffer from acne, eating things that inflame their acne have kind of an immediate effect on it, right?
Yeah.
For those people, what's happening is when they eat something, it induces their body to change the production of sebum, which is the natural oil our face produces
Hmm.
on their skin. Now,
Yeah.
the sebum is the number one preferred food for C. acnes, much more than any other bacteria on your skin. And so
Okay.
when you eat that and that change occurs, you're feeding this acne bacteria, it grows out of proportion and it causes your body to create inflammation. And that's kind of
Okay.
the most direct version of that.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I didn't growing up, I didn't have a huge acne problem. Obviously, like everyone does, going through like with hormones and things like that, cycles and things like that. But I did have something that I definitely knew was connected with diet. I used to have some, I think it's called like milia, like just little bumps. It's not quite acne, but it definitely was connected with when I changed certain things in diet, and I noticed when things would come back and it would be more like inflammatory foods, like, bad foods. It would be just, and then I was just like, wow, like, there's definitely a direct link there. And you do hear that, what you eat, just you start to see inflammation in different parts of your body, including your skin, obviously hydration. Would you say hydration is also a big thing that affects that equilibrium?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and we all know this, right? When we're poorly hydrated for a certain amount of time, you see that effect on your skin.
Yeah.
Your hydration levels reflect the quality and the kind of freshness of your skin. And it's the same thing, as you said, with eating, um, foods that kind of inflame you, that cause inflammation. And there is, beyond acne, if you put acne to one side, then the effects of systemic inflammation will show up systemically everywhere in your body, right? Like
Yeah.
you can have symptoms in your gut, you can have symptoms on your face, and you'll have, general malaise, that feeling of kind of, oh, lethargy, and I can't
Hmm.
really pick myself up, and I don't feel great. So, um, in a systemic way, all of that 100% is interconnected. And it's something that, most of your listeners will be familiar with at some point in their life. They're like, yeah, I ate something and it didn't agree with me. I recently, this spring, while traveling, I had food poisoning. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, yeah, you look like someone who has food poisoning. And just the
Right.
quality of your skin
Yeah.
kind of
Yes.
signals that. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. And so tell us a little bit about, the products that you have developed under the Phyla brand, and what would be your top selling products or your most successful products.
Yeah. Well, before I talk about our products, I want to go back to something you said earlier, which is that you kind of, most of your life, you just haven't had acne, right?
Hmm.
And for a small number of us, right, the lucky ones, that is the case. And it's kind of interesting. A lot of, I think everyone listening probably has a friend or a family member or someone they know who has just annoyingly clear skin, who just wakes up, doesn't really take care of their skin, but they're like, I don't know, it just never struck me. Acne was never a thing in my life.
I mean, I want to clarify. My skin was never just like clear. There were the odd pimple here and there at different times. But, I had friends that just had acne and they would be trying like proactive. They were trying all these things because it would just be chronic. Like they would
Yep.
have that problem. Yeah. So,
Exactly. And by the way, your skin looks amazing.
oh,
But yeah, and I think your story is kind of similar to mine. I never had a ton of acne growing up. You have the occasional pimple, or you realize your face is greasy, and after a few days, you're like, well, yeah, I should wash my face, but it goes
yeah.
away quickly. Well, people have done microbiome sort of studies of healthy skin and acne skin to figure out, what's different between them. What they discovered was that there's an organism that's on healthy skin, but it's not on acne skin. And it's
Okay.
quite consistent. So, for example, when you get older, if you have healthy skin, the amount of this organism is much, much higher. So it accumulates and kind of lives better over time. This organism is a phage. It's a phage that kills and eats the acnes, right? And it's the same organism that we have done research on and that we have kind of put in a bottle because we said, hey, there are people out there who go through their life not really being touched by acne for the most part. They have great skin, healthy skin. And the reason they have it, that what's different about them versus people who have acne is this one organism. So why can't
Hmm.
we put this phage in a bottle, make it available to everyone, and democratize it in a way so that you may not have been blessed or born or kissed by fate to have clear skin, but
Yeah.
you can have the benefit of clear skin by putting this organism on your skin that healthy people naturally have. Um, and so going to our products, we have a very simple three-step system. We really believe in kind of minimalism and giving people what their skin needs and nothing more.
Hmm.
So our system is really a cleanser, a serum, and a moisturizer. The serum has our secret sauce. It has our technology with live active phages. The other two are kind of companion products, which we built to be microbiome friendly because we know that many other products out there would kill the phages or negatively affect them. And the last thing
Hmm.
we want is for you to put this amazing biotechnology product on your face and then immediately kill it, right?
Right.
So we have the cleanser. You start with the cleanser. It's a very gentle gel cleanser. It's non-foaming and it won't strip your skin of oils. Um, and you apply that to your skin. It opens up your pores. It has salicylic acid and tea tree oil, which are great gentle exfoliators. And what you want is to open up your pores to receive the phages. Next, you go to our serum, which is our hero product. They have the live active phages, so you apply them to your skin and they immediately get to work. They will kill only the bad bacteria and balance your microbiome without hurting any of the good bacteria on your skin. And finally, we know a large part of our customer base is people who have applied all sorts of things on their face for acne, from
Hmm.
drugstore brands to brand A, B, and C. They've gone to the dermatologist. They've really seen and been through everything. And as a result, their skin has had a lot of damage. So the moisturizer is really to seal in the moisture. It's very light, non-greasy, and obviously non-comedogenic. And yeah, it's a great supporting product for people who have really dry skin. So it's a simple three-step product that is meant to fit into everyone's daily regimen. And really, unlike most acne products, which you take for short bursts of time, partly because they're really harsh on your skin and your skin can't tolerate it long term. The unfortunate thing is that acne affects us on a much longer time scale, months and years, right?
Hmm.
And so you need a product that's going to be your companion that you can incorporate in your daily use regimen and that won't inflame your skin, that'll be gentle, but will deliver a tangible benefit. And that's really the ethos by which we built this brand and all of our products.
Okay. And obviously, you're a biotechnology company, you're a scientist, and believe in evidence. And I'm curious as to what sort of studies you've done, clinical trials, what things you've published to really back up the claims that your products have.
Yes, so we've run a clinical trial on this. We're actually in the process of launching a few more smaller studies. We ran a clinical trial a few years ago, and it proved out a few things. First, it showed how safe this is. So, our product has zero side effects, no redness, no dryness, no irritation, none of the, more scary stuff that people with harsher acne drugs experience.
Yeah.
We also saw a significant increase in efficacy. So basically, people's acne got better over the
Hmm.
8 week trial period. We found that it got better because people's C acne levels were decreasing. And finally, we found that over the course of 8 weeks, which is a relatively short period of time, we're already starting to see the microbiome kind of bloom, right? Because you're decreasing the overgrowth of this one dominant bacteria, you're starting to see a lot of the good bacteria kind of um, expand, diversify, and occupy a greater role in the microbiome as they should.
Yeah.
And so those are really, really powerful pieces of evidence showing that this stuff works. And also, it may be critical for your long-term skin health in keeping acne away. We have more studies planned for acne, and we're actually moving forward from acne into other indications which we can solve with our phage technology.
Okay. And just to clarify, you mentioned that this phage, what you noticed was it was more on people when they as they got older. Is that right? And that's how. So is that just natural? Is that something that we're just lucky to have more of, or is that also informed by environment, habits, diet, things like that?
It's probably a bit of both. So the hypothesis that came out of that paper was, uh, so the observation was that people who are healthy and have had a history of healthy skin, they tend to have the most prevalence of these particular phages on their skin, right?
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean, and what does that imply? It means that as you go through life, right, we're rubbing our skin up against other people, right? When we have relationships, when we have family and kids and so on. And so these are all, each of those skin to skin contact events is an opportunity for a bacterial exchange or an organism exchange between two microbiomes. And as a result, as you go through life and increase the number of these events, the chances are higher that a phage might jump over and live on your skin and and if it ends up living there long term, then you get that health benefit, right? Now, we also know that acne kind of is a more of a teenager's disease. Now it's in early adulthood, but as you get older, your acne kind of drops off and no one really knows why. And this could be one of the most powerful mechanisms by which that happens, and is kind of relegating acne to more the province of teenagers and maybe young adults, and not people who get older.
Yeah.
So it's a really fascinating observation.
Okay. And with that, do you see your product is used in specific age groups? And, within your clinical trials, you enrolled specific age groups?
Yeah, I mean, a large part of our consumer base is, people in their early adulthood, in their 20s and 30s, skews more towards women. And again, a lot of them have gone through acne in their teenage years, have
Hmm.
tried a bunch of things, and we actually feel it as a badge of pride that these people who are probably really knowledgeable about skincare, about acne, about their skin, and are, of course, motivated to improve their skin health, are the ones who are picking up our product and finding that it works for them, because they've
Okay.
tried everything, it hasn't worked. And we have, over probably nearly 1,500 reviews of our product at this point on our website. And they're really heartwarming. I mean, a lot of people say, hey, this really changed my life because I've tried so many things. I've tried everything. I've even gone to the doctor, but nothing has worked like Phyla has. And I'm so grateful to have found it. Um, I feel like acne is not just skin deep, it affects your mental health. It affects your sense of self, of who you are and how you think the world sees you. And
Yeah.
to help people achieve kind of the results that they want is really, I think, a badge of pride for everyone who works in my company and works on our products.
Yeah. And you mentioned the predominantly female population. I'm curious about how the products work with makeup and combining sort of other sort of elements there. I guess it could other variables, I guess. Yeah, do you have experience there or what the recommendation would be?
Yeah, I mean, obviously can't control every variable in people's lives, and we don't want to, because we want a product that you can use easily, that you don't have to go out of your way to change everything about your life to accommodate,
Yeah.
because honestly, that wouldn't be practical. And so we highly encourage people to use our product twice a day for best results, morning and evening. And so we recognize that in the morning, you may want to put makeup and even light makeup on top of that, and that's totally fine. In that case, we recommend that you adhere to your evening routine really, with a lot of high fidelity, because the more efficiently you use the product in the evening, you're giving your sort of skin 12 hours ish to recover and so on. Again, our company has kind of a minimalist ethos. Um, and we think that the less products you put on your face, the better. There was a study actually that showed that on average, a woman puts on 500 skincare ingredients every day, right? I'm gonna go out on a limb
Wow.
and say you maybe don't need every single one of those ingredients on your skin, and you think
Yeah.
of the burden that your skin is carrying every day because a lot of these products you on. And by any means, I'm not saying stop using stop using makeup. My wife wears makeup every day, but I am saying that if you use makeup, that's fine. Apply highlight in the evening for sure. And consider not doing like a 15-20 step skincare routine every day, because maybe by reducing some of that, you're reducing the burden of products on your skin.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think, for a lot of people, it's just that security thing of just having like a mask of some sort, even though like it may not really make much of a difference, but just like evening out a color or something like that. Is that something that you guys like think about, not obviously doing a makeup range, but you see some tinted moisturizers and things like that. Is that something that, or is like not, no synergy there?
No, I think there's synergy there. It's been discussed. We are very focused on acne right now. And in fact, you're saying this, we've actually been thinking over the last couple of months of, look, we know that the microbiome plays an important role in skin health, especially in acne. I think that's been proven time and time again by many studies. Um, we know that this technology works for acne, and we suspect that it also works for things like you may have low-grade inflammation that isn't full-blown acne, but is caused
Mhm.
by some of the same underlying causes that causes acne. And so
Yeah.
whether it's redness and inflammation or uneven skin tone or dull skin, I think our technology can help. And so we're going to be working on building out some products, and whether that looks like a tinted moisturizer, which has been discussed internally, or some other version. I think there's definitely something that will be scientifically supported. And once we know what that is, once we've sort of seen that and proven that out for ourselves, then we'll have really good confidence in building that product out, launching it, and then saying, hey, like these are the exact benefits we've been able to see and verify, and
Mhm.
that you can take advantage of.
Yeah. And just with the variability of people and their skin, obviously there would be an optimal candidate for that needs the amount of phage on like to balance out their microbiome. But could it go the other way where like someone with enough of that on their skin starts using the product and it goes the other way? Like it's a negative effect on their microbiome?
Um, we don't think so, and so far we haven't seen any, right? So just from the way phages work, they're fascinating because as living organisms, they can multiply, right? And if they get enough food and the right conditions, they will multiply. But the thing is that the only food they can eat is C. acnes. And so let's say
Mm-hmm.
you apply the product on your skin, all over your skin, but really you have acne here, right, on your jaw. And the phages will do on the other parts of your skin where there isn't an overgrowth or an imbalance of C. acnes is they'll sit there, they'll look around, and if they don't find any C. acnes to go into and eat up, then they cannot make more of themselves. And so in a few hours, they will completely clear, right? In the parts where you have acne, where there is an imbalance and an overgrowth of C. acnes, the phages will find the C. acnes and kill them and actually grow to a proportional amount of how much of the problem there is. So they'll grow to a proportional amount that they need to solve the problem. Once the problem is solved, once the C. acnes levels are reduced, again, there's nothing to feed on and nothing to eat, and they clear after a few hours. So it's a
Okay.
very interesting, we're basically leveraging microbial ecology, what happens in nature. And
Yeah.
I'm reminded you have this beautiful backdrop of sort of green grass or
Yeah.
whatever. Let's say you go into your lawn, right? And you'll take a handful of seeds of, grass seeds and scatter them in the kind of bald patches in your lawn. If you took two fistfuls instead of one fistful, you wouldn't, have sleepless nights thinking, oh my God, there's going to be an overgrowth. The seeds will sprout, you know, in a few weeks or a few months, as much grass as the soil can support, the water that you're irrigating with can support, and the sunlight can support will grow. The other seeds will either not sprout or they will sprout and fall away. And so that is ecology in action. And what we're leveraging here is microbial ecology. So what I love about this is we don't have to individualize this to each person and make it more expensive, make it more sort of hoops for our customers to jump through. Everyone can take the product, use it as they normally would. And because of the way it works, they'll get exactly the right dose on their skin that they need.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. So potency isn't a question there. It's just equal across the board. And for people who, don't have an acne issue, but just want to be conscious of their like skin microbiome, they get the occasional pimple. I might be talking about myself. It can be, it's a good option, just to, as a preventative as well.
Yes, exactly. And one of the use cases for which our product works really well is hormonal acne. Now, our product works for all kinds of acne, mild, moderate, severe, um, hormonal acne, cystic acne. We've actually seen some really impressive results with people with severe cystic acne, which
Okay.
honestly was surprising to me because that acne is kind of deeper in the skin,
Yeah.
but it seems that the phage are able to access it and do their job. It works for even chest and back acne. So we have some customers that are, they work out and they say, oh, I sweat and then I get acne. Can this help? Because the underlying cause of all of these is the same, our product works for all of them. But for
Okay.
hormonal acne, we see really good results because, hormonal acne is periodic and it
Hmm.
doesn't, happen all the time. But still, our customers are faithful users because they know that and they've seen for themselves that balancing your skin microbiome means that when you have that hormonal part of your cycle where acne is most likely to occur, because your microbiome is already in balance, you're not going to get that outbreak.
Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, that's really good to know because I was kind of curious about that, the really cystic, nodular, painful acne that everyone needs to get, go on heavy prescription drugs. So you're seeing activity there, which is good, encouraging. And do you have like a success story? Actually, I was going to ask, how long have you been operating? Like how long have your products been on the market and, seeing success?
Yeah, so we've been on the market for about 3 years, almost 3 years. And we've seen really great sort of reception and uptake of our product. We have
Hmm.
very loyal customers. Our retention rate and our repeat rate is really quite strong. And I think that just reflects on the quality of the product because really what we're trying to do is bring biotechnology into consumer health. We're not, we're pioneering a new technology, which is different from the benzoyl peroxides and salicylic acids and azelaic acids and all the other, ingredients that everyone with acne has seen in, myriad products. So we're not bringing a same product into the market.
Hmm.
Because it's a new technology, not everyone knows about it, right? And many of
Yeah.
your listeners are probably hearing about phage technology for the first time. So
Yeah.
for us, the challenge is how do we get more people to hear about phage technology for the first time and the second and the third time so that
Hmm.
maybe the fourth time they'll say, Oh yeah, I think I know enough about the technology. I'm comfortable with it to make my, decision.
Yeah.
And we're doing that in a number of ways, but what we have seen is that when we tell people what the technology is, give them a little knowledge about the science, about our clinical trial, about, how it works, that converts and that convinces people very strongly.
Okay, great. And then do you have like a one big success story that you sort of flag around or you was something you want to share that something was incredible?
Yeah, we have many, and there are some that I've been personally kind of involved in because as the founder and as kind of the scientist, right? A lot of people ask technical questions, or like there are parents who say, "Hey, can I have all these questions because it's for my kid, and I don't want them to go on Accutane or something. I hope this will help." Um, there's one here that I wanted to read out, and this is verbatim from the customer themselves.
Yeah.
This is a person, she says, I have suffered with deep cystic acne for several years. I have tried so many products to help my acne, including a full round of Accutane with minimal relief. Phyla is the only product I have ever used that has helped with my acne. My face feels hydrated and restored after many years of drying it out and using harsh chemicals. I'm very thankful to this company for the work they're doing. And
Great.
so, when I'm having a hard day, sort of going to our review page and reading some of these reviews really lifts me up.
Yeah.
And as a scientist, when I started this company, a lot of people said, wow, who knew about this technology said, oh, phage technology, phage therapy is potentially so powerful. You could be helping people in hospitals who are in medical comas because of some, horrible bacterial infection, et cetera, et
Hmm.
cetera. Acne seems like such a superficial disease to treat. I certainly don't think of it that way. I think we're helping, tens of thousands, hopefully hundreds of thousands and millions of customers really soon. And they have a real pain point. I mean, they have something that affects their face that they can't hide away from, whether it's fronting up to a mirror every day or when they're out in public and they feel the world sees them in a certain way,
Yeah.
right? Acne has such a huge mental health component. And so to help people who are struggling and then to hear these kind of life-changing results from their own experience uh,
Hmm.
is, I think, really significant. And I'm really proud of the work that we do.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine that's something that just keeps you going, when things are going tough and you're like, we're not getting anywhere with this and we've been working on this for ages. Yeah, it's some motivation to keep going. But you did mention that you were planning to look at some other diseases. Are you able to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're really interested in eczema. We have a project that is quite advanced. We've done some case studies to show that this works. So the proof of concept works, where the if we knock down this bacteria that causes eczema flare-ups, then it has a big effect on the disease. It improves people's skin, but also we're seeing that the bacteria that causes eczema flare-ups is Staph aureus. And we're seeing that initially Staph aureus levels are high. We're able to knock it down to a very low level. And as a result, we're seeing a huge improvement in eczema skin. So the
Okay.
next step is to do some clinicals, hopefully do some longitudinal testing and say, okay, what if someone is on this for months and months? What is the effect on the skin? And then yeah, launch the product. But the stuff works really, really well.
Yeah.
We started our company many years ago with NIH support, with a grant from the NIH, doing
Yeah.
the biomedical research, and with the help of use or with the support of UCSF. Um, and we're writing a grant to the NIH right now for eczema as well. So I'm really excited about that. I think that is going to continue to have a big impact on people with skin issues, skin conditions, and especially because eczema, a huge portion of eczema affects kids. So
Oh,
kids
yeah.
under the age of 5 or 6, especially kids under 2, the rate of eczema is about 10 to 15%, which is quite high. And the
Hmm.
quality of life is incredibly tough because the kid obviously is miserable. They can't stop scratching, and scratching only induces more skin breakage and more eczema. But the parents have sleepless nights and are desperate. Obviously, I have kids. I can imagine what it's like. And when they go to the doctor, the doctor says, well, you can either use a steroid cream or you can put your kid in a bleach bath, both of which sound medieval, right?
Yeah.
You can't believe that with our, advanced knowledge of medicine that we can do better.
Yeah.
And I don't know about anyone else, but I would think very deep and hard about putting steroid products on my kid's skin, right? So
Mhm.
I feel like eczema is similar to acne where you don't have really great choices. They come with a lot of trade-offs that a lot of people aren't comfortable with making. And I think we can have a big impact there.
Yeah, definitely. And just to finish us off, a lot of our listeners are sort of curious on what they can do just generally to improve, their microbiome related to skin. What sort of things would you tell them, maybe some advice, things that they can be thinking about? Not necessarily, I'm sure they'll look into the products and, buying the products, but just daily lifestyle habits that they can just be more mindful of.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of pieces of advice come to mind. The first is don't dry out your skin, right? Um, Especially based on what we talked about, right? That the sebum, the natural oil that your skin produces, is the number one favorite food for this bacteria, C. acnes. But there's a good reason why your face produces oil, which is to seal in the moisture, prevent water loss, and hydrate the skin layers and prevent fine lines and wrinkles. So if you dry out your skin, maybe not now, but in a few years, you're going to see the negative effects of that, where you feel like your skin is rougher, it's aging more poorly than people your age.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is stay hydrated. I think skin hydration and just general body hydration, it has a huge effect on your skin. And of course, use phyla because we've shown that increasing the microbiome diversity on your skin really helps. Phages are a great way to do that. And as we're investigating the long-term effects on it, we know that people with healthy skin have this phage naturally on their skin. And
Yeah.
so this product is literally, closely associated with skin health.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Yug, for joining the podcast. This has been really insightful and educational, for me as well. Just hearing your unique perspective on microbiome research, and I wish you all the best with everything that you've got in front of you. And to everyone listening, please go and visit the Phyla website to get more info on the work that they're doing and their product range. Also, remember to subscribe to the podcast for more episodes on holistic health habits. But I'm Sarani Fernando, and we'll see you on the next episode for more conversations on nourishing the mind, body, and soul. Take care.